Hey y'all, welcome back to New Eyes Open. The strategy I want to explore with you today, if the wind allows me to, is the idea of a family gap year as the ideal way to start redesigning your life. So, what that means, if you find yourself in a place in life where you are feeling uninspired, unfulfilled, just you're not living in alignment with your values, whatever that looks like for you, and you are ready to make a change, you're ready to redesign your life, but then the next question is always, but how? How do I do that? How do I even get started? One of the strategies, the strategy that I went with actually, was to take a family gap year. Now, what is a gap year? A gap year is essentially a year off from normal. So if your normal is currently going to school and going to work 9 to 5, family being separated during the day, only to come home to a home that really is just a house where you all gather and go to sleep each night and then start over, again the next day, leave, rinse and repeat. Then a gap year is departing from that being your norm. And for us, what it meant, because my true desire, my dream in life was to spend more time in nature with my family, for my kids to be able to be unschooled and to learn through their environment. But in order for them to learn new and exciting things, I wanted to change up their environment pretty frequently. So for us, a gap year looked like selling the home that no longer really felt like home. It felt like a burden. It felt like an anchor tying us down to a location that we didn't really want to be in. We sold it. We bought a RV, a mobile home, and we started traveling from North Carolina to Indiana, then from Indiana to South Dakota, from South Dakota over into Wyoming, then up to Montana, then over to Idaho, down to Utah, into Nevada, into Arizona, and we actually dipped back into a few of those places multiple times. Spent a little while in western Colorado, not central Colorado, and then came to Texas, which is where I actually ended up staying for the time being. But that is what our family gap year looked like, and we used the funds from the sale of our house in order to go on this gap year. Now, I know lots of people that are doing this exact same thing, but they actually work on the road. So they also have RVs and are traveling around the country with their kids, but maybe, for one of them, I know mom is a travel agent and dad is a RV maintenance mechanic. So he's able to fix RVs wherever they are on the road, which that is a job to get into. And then on my other video, 5 ways to work remotely or get and to leave traditional 9 to 5 work for something a little more unconventional with some more freedom. One of the things I mentioned was work camping. So being workers on different campgrounds around the country, that's a way to fund this. Lots and lots of possibilities, and I'll explore some more of those possibilities on a future video, because the question after people are like, oh my gosh, that's so cool that you guys did that, the very next question is inevitably, how did you afford that? How can I afford that? And I dive into that. That's really in my coaching practice and in my course, How to Redesign Your Life. That's really what I go into, because the how you make this happen is going to be different for you than it was for me, because you are a different person with a different set of gifts and skills and just innate abilities than I am. And so it's not going to serve you to follow my path in a cookie cutter fashion because you are not me. But I help the people that come to me and ask, for some guidance and someone to walk with them down this journey of redesigning their life. That's what I do with them, is help them mine out their gifts, just remember who they really are and rediscover what they want out of life, and then figure out how to make this work for them. So I'll leave a link below for you to get signed up for the course and or coaching if you're interested in that. But for today, let's talk about why a gap year is actually the perfect, I think, in my opinion, the perfect way to launch into redesigning your life. So, the main reason I feel like embarking on a gap year is the best way to step out into a new phase of life, or the first phase of redesigning your life, the ideal first phase, is because it is a full reset. You are leaving behind where you live. You are leaving behind, unless you have a remote job that you plan on continuing, you can leave behind your community, which for a lot of us, one of the reasons we're unfulfilled is because we're surrounded by people who don't dream big and don't believe in encouraging you to dream big. And so that just adds to the weighted down, anchored in, stuck feeling that you already have. So getting away from that can be very helpful. It's not that you're cutting off these people forever. It's that you are cutting them off until you are stable and secure enough in knowing and remembering who you are, that you can accomplish anything regardless of what they think about your dreams. While you're in that place of feeling like you're stuck and you're unsure about your path in life, it can be extra difficult to be around people who don't believe in your ability. You need to be surrounded by people who do believe in your big dreams, in the possibility that exists for you, and are willing to encourage you and remind you when you don't believe it or when you forget that you are capable of that. You need to be surrounded by people who will encourage you. And that's one of the cool things about the community we're creating over in the NEO Front Porch area. So that's completely free. Come join us over in the NEO Front Porch. It's a Facebook group on my Facebook page, NEO Strategic. You are welcome over there. We will believe in your big dreams, no matter how big they are. Like, we're there to be your cheerleaders, and I truly believe that where two or more are gathered together, and our purpose is pure, and we have the highest ideal in mind for not only ourselves but humanity as a whole, that God himself comes together with us and helps speed up that co-creation process. So come on over. We're a community of like-minded, big dreaming individuals who are ready to help each other plan for the adventure of our lives and support one another along the way. So going on this gap year helps surround you with other people that believe in this lifestyle being possible because they're living it too, right? They're traveling, educating their children unconventionally. It's just, there's a lot of cool communities out there of individuals that are living this way. So, reason number one why a gap year is the perfect way to start redesigning your life: it's a full reset, complete reset, clear the slate, start over, new starting line. That is what the gap year is for you. And I can tell you in hindsight, that is definitely what it was for me. I thought that the gap year was leading me to one particular dream, and it just launched me into a dream that I hadn't remembered I wanted since I was a little girl, and in the most awesome, amazing way. So be prepared for miracles. That's that's another little tidbit about gap years. Okay. Reason number 2 why a gap year is a perfect way to start redesigning your life is very similar to reason number 1. It is a full reset, is reason number 1. And with that comes separation from all that is familiar. You see, what is familiar to you right now is what has led to you living the life you have right now. And if you want to live a completely different life, if you want to redesign your life to look differently than it does right now, to be something bigger, more expansive, more unconventional, then you need to separate yourself from what is normal and familiar. That's people, places, ideas, location. Different locations have different vibes to them, and we definitely felt that as we traveled around the country. And so it's really neat to be able to start picking up on the fact that, oh, where I came from has this particular vibe, and the people I was around, you know, had this particular set of beliefs about what is real and what is possible in life. But in Austin, Texas, there's a completely different, belief and vibe and group of people. Or in, I don't know, where else do we go? In Moab, Utah, there's a whole nother vibe of people. A lot of dirt bikers and adventure seekers. So, reason number 2 why a family gap year is the best way to restart or to redesign your life, to start redesigning your life, is that it's a separation from everything that's familiar that has led you to where you are right now, which is feeling stuck, uninspired, unfulfilled, and just not feeling like you are living to your fullest potential or living out the purpose that you were created for. All right. Reason number 3 is probably my favorite and really what I was going after whenever I decided that a family gap year was, the way to go. It provides you with a wealth of new experiences, new memories, new connections, and all of that leads to a slew of beautiful things. Like, the memories of the places that we went still sustain my girls and I. They sustained us through several years of healing from deep trauma that had happened in our family lineage. They have sustained us as we, think about what we want. I am currently redesigning my life again because the gap year launched us into a dream that was, bigger and more beautiful than we ever could have imagined. And so it required some healing, like I said, and recalibration of what I thought was possible, because now it's like, wow, what I thought was possible and beyond is totally possible. So now what's my next big dream? So we're in that phase right now, and these memories that we have from our family gap year are not only sustaining us, but really inspiring and fueling us to dream even bigger moving forward. And we're actually right now dreaming up and planning another gap year. So a gap year that's going to be a little bit different, but just another opportunity to go and explore and travel. And we actually want to revisit some of the same places from our first family gap year in order to just finalize some healing that needs to be done in those particular places. So yeah. Reason number 3 why a family gap year is the perfect way to start redesigning your life. It gives you a wealth of new experiences, new memories, things to look back on as a family, things to inspire you in and fuel your creativity for what you want to do next in your life. You'd be surprised. Your dreams that you think you are embarking on this gap year with and for may change drastically once you actually get out there and experience more of what the world has to offer. And it also will shed a light on the healing that needs to take place in order to remember who you really are and how powerful you really are and how capable of creating your reality you really are. So that's reason number 3. Reason number 4. This is for all the parents out there. If you have children who are going through this redesigning of your family's life together with you, then deschooling is a necessary season before any kind of new type of school or educational adventure takes place. And I can't think of a better educational experience for my children than their gap year experience. They got to visit so many places that, I mean, they have adults in their life now that continue to tell them, you've been more places than I have, and you're 12. Like, what is this? You know, how lucky are you? How blessed are you? And my kids got to experience all the same things that I did. They got to see these places that I really, at one point in my life, only thought I would get to see when I had retired from the school system. Like back when I was a public school teacher, I did not think I was going to get to see all these national parks until I was retired and could afford to buy an RV and could afford to travel around the country with my husband. My kids got to experience that at the ages of 7, 8, and 14. And those experiences still fuel their learning, still spark curiosity within them, even though we're not there. We still have discussions about Yellowstone and it being, you know, the super volcano that could possibly end the world, or the world as we know it. And just, you know, all the science that goes into that. We still have discussions about that. So it still sparks their curiosity and fuels their learning even today. So reason number 4, why a family gap year experience should or is the perfect way to start redesigning your life is that it is a great way to deschool yourself and your children. So just erase this paradigm of 9 to 5 traditional working, living, going to school. A gap year changes that because it shakes up your routines, it shakes up your experience, and that shake up is necessary in order for you to figure out what you want life to look like moving forward. Because you think you know what you want it to look like, but you don't know what you don't know. And right now, what you do know is what life has felt like up to this point. And a gap year, unless you've already taken one, which taking one with kids will be a whole new experience, trust me. If you've never taken one, then this is a new experience for you and will just provide another layer of things to consider as you're redesigning your life. And reason number 5, why a gap year is the perfect way to start redesigning your life is that it is the most amazing way to see more places and pack in more experiences in 1 year, or it doesn't have to be a year, it can be a season, in one period of time than any other way, in my opinion at least. If you know of another way, let me know. But on our gap year, I mean, we visited and really got to live. And when I say visit, we didn't do the touristy things in each location. We did in some locations, and we did some touristy things, but we also like went to the local diner, um, asked the locals what their favorite places to explore were, and really got to see how other people live and what they do, what their day-to-day life looks like. And so, and not to mention, I think we went to a total of 14 national parks in 4.5 months, maybe 5 months, not to mention countless state parks, national forest, national historic sites. The wealth of experiences that we were able to pack into less than half a year was amazing. And then we also got to live in another country for several months where my kids were immersed in the culture and the language and really started to pick up what life was like through a different lens. And so their eyes were open to a different way of seeing, feeling, believing, thinking, and speaking than they would have been able to if they hadn't gone to a different country. So all in all, I know I keep saying gap year, and we had planned on our travels. We had planned on a gap year, but here's my greatest lesson from this. It didn't end up being a year, thanks COVID. Truly, thank you. It was a blessing in disguise for our family in particular. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be insensitive. I know that some people really had a tough time through COVID, and I also lost a loved one who wasn't able to be accompanied by anyone during COVID because of the rules and regulations. So it's not lost on me that COVID was not a blessing or considered a blessing to everyone. I do understand that. But for our particular situation, it was a blessing. A lot of darkness was brought to light that needed to be sorted through, healed, transformed into light. And so our gap year ended up being, I think, a total of 7 months. And that is the takeaway. It doesn't have to be a year. It can be a gap season. If all you think is possible right now is for it to be a gap summer, like summer break with your kids while they're out of school, start there. Like that can be the beginning as well. The key is to really let yourself get lost in a new way of thinking, living, believing, and seeing the world. Not to treat it like a vacation, but this is your new life. Your new life is an adventure. It is exploring these places that you thought you wouldn't get to explore until you were in your 60s and unable to actually hike the trails because your knees are bad. So yeah, 5 reasons why a gap year is a perfect way to start redesigning your life. Number 1, it's a full reset, a major shift and shakeup that's needed to make even bigger major shifts and shakeups in your life. Number 2, it's a separation of everything that's familiar, everything that has created the reality that you currently are living in that has you feeling unfulfilled, uninspired, and just out of alignment. Number 3, it's a great way to make new memories and new experiences that will shine a light on who you really are, help you remember who you are, help you heal trauma from your past, shine a light on healing that needs to happen within your family unit, within you as an individual, within society as a whole. A lot can come out of this. Reason number 4, it's a great way to de-school yourself and your children. So just shake your mind out of this conventional mindset that going to work 9 to 5 at a traditional job is the way, or going to public school is the only way to educate your children. Your children were born natural learners, and I won't get on my soapbox. I'll have other videos about that. And reason number 5, it's an amazing way to see more than you ever thought possible in a given time frame. So short amount of time, jam-packed with memories, healing, creativity, inspiration, just new connections with places and people. A family gap year can be the breath of fresh air that you need in order to sustain this new life that you are creating for yourself, for your family, and ultimately for society as a whole. Because as you remember who you are and create a life that allows your kids to never forget who they are, you're helping all of us in the world. You are helping build a society of individuals who are living, thriving, vibing as their fullest, most vibrant selves, and bringing their true God-given gifts to the table for all of us to build a better world together. I believe that to my soul. If you have any questions, comments about family gap year, designing your family gap year, the steps to take, leave your comments and questions below. This is one of my favorite things to talk about, if you can't tell. I would love to reach out and answer any questions you have. If you have already done this, leave your wisdom below for everybody else to learn from. Together we are creating a better world for our children and our children's children by embracing life as the adventure that it really is. All right, until next time, be well. I will see you on the other side.